Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. Hope you are well. So today I have come up with this same poem, Dejection and Ode, with stanza 5 and stanza 6. So let us read it out. O pure of heart, that means Sarah Hutchinson is mentioned here by S.T. Coleridge, and he is saying that thou needst not ask of me what this strong music in the soul may be. That means S.T. Coleridge is saying that Sarah need not ask of him what is the soul of the strong music, or we can say the poetic inspiration. She must not ask him about what it is or where it lies, what and wherein it doth exist. That means Sarah must not ask Coleridge that where it lies, or what is the source of this. Okay, this light, this glory, this fair luminous mist, this beautiful and beauty making power. So he is describing this as a light, as a glory, and a fair luminous mist. Obviously this is a oxymoron, we can say, luminous and mist. This is very much luminous, very much bright, and at the same time this is very much like mist, or we can say completely foggy. So poetic inspiration is something that is nicely defined by Coleridge here, and he is saying that this is at once beautiful and it has the beauty making power. That means it can make anything very much beautiful. So in the next lines, joy, virtuous lady, joy that never was given save to the pure and in their purest hour. So this is the joy. This virtuous lady is obviously Sarah Hutchinson, and he is saying that only joy, or we can say the poetic inspiration, is the source, or we can say this is the source of joy in the poet, and joy that never was given. This joy was not given to anyone save to the pure. This is only given to the pure of heart. Okay, that means the poets, and in their purest hour. And at the same time he is saying that the poets are not all the time is capable of having this joy, but in their purest hour, when they are very much we can say they are very much in their thoughts, at that time, at that purest hour, they got this poetic inspiration and could write the poems. Okay, life and life's effluence. So this poetic inspiration is life in itself, and from this the effluence, or we can say the flow of life starts. Cloud at once and shower. This is at once compared to the cloud, and at the same time with the showers. Okay, so this is obviously a cloud and obviously shower. Joy, lady, is the spirit and the power. So this is also compared to spirit and the power, which wedding nature to us gives in dower. So he is saying that that means Coleridge is saying that nature has gifted that to the poets as a dowry. Dower means dowry. He is saying that as a dowry, or we can say when they are in complete balance, because in this word, that means wedding refers to the balance, the harmony between husband and wife. Very much like that, this harmony must be there when some poetic creation is going to happen. There must be harmony with nature and with the poet, and that is why the poet is saying that when nature gives the poet with this harmony, with this poetic inspiration, only at that time they can write the poems. Okay, or we can say any artistic creation can happen at that time. A new earth and new heaven, undreamed of by the sensual and the proud. So the sensual people and the proud people, they cannot actually dream of this earth. They cannot actually think of this earth and this heaven. That is completely heavenly atmosphere, and that cannot be understood or comprehended by the sensual people and the proud people. Joy is the sweet voice, joy is the luminous cloud, we in ourselves rejoice. So the poet is saying that they are rejoicing in themselves, and thence flows all the charms or ear or sight. So here he is saying that this is the source of anything, any of the artistic things, like the sculpture, like the music, like drawing, painting, or other forms of art. Okay, so this poetic inspiration, or we can say the artistic inspiration, is the source of all these arts and all these joys. All melodies, the echoes of that voice, all colors are sufficient from that light. So all the melodies and all the colors are the source of this. Okay, the poets, or we can say the artistic personas who actually create something new, have the source in these artistic creations, and this is the source of reason or the cause of reasons in the poets or the other artists. Okay, let's move to the next stanza, stanza number 6. There was a time when, though my path was rough, this joy within me dallied with distress. So the poet is saying that once upon a time I have some rough time, some rough period of time of my life. I have faced some roughness in my life, but at that time it has not left me. These poetic creations had not left me, but dallied with me, dallied with that distress. We can say that played with me at the time of distress. Okay, and all misfortunes were but as the staff whence fancy made me dreams of happiness. So obviously at that time I have misfortunes, but I can actually convert them, or we can say the poet can convert these misfortunes into the stuff of his poetry, or we can say the material of his poetic creations. Okay, so in the next lines, for hope grew round me. At that time hope grew round me like the twining vine, and fruits and foliage not my own seemed mine. So at that time this flourished around me, the hopes actually flourished around me, and for that I can say that the creations, obviously that was the poetic creations, that was because of the poetic creation, but I could say that that was mine, that creations were mine. But now afflictions bow me down to earth, but now misfortunes has completely take me to the ground. Nor care I that they rob me of my mirth, my all the happiness, all the happiness of mine have completely gone. But oh, each visitation suspends what nature gave me at my birth. So with each visitation means the fit, the each of the mental depressions actually robbed me of my gift. So what is the gift mentioned here? My shaping spirit of imagination, that means the imaginative faculty of the poet. Okay, so the poet is saying that distresses actually robbed him of the mirth, of the poetic imagination. Okay, for not to think of what I need must feel, but to be still and patient all I can. So the poet is saying that I cannot, but I have to completely still and completely be patient and happily, and perhaps by abstruse research to steal from my own nature all the natural man. And I have to steal, or we can say take away the natural man, or we can say the true identity of Coleridge himself from his present self, that is completely inclined, or we can say that is completely interested in philosophy or metaphysics. Okay, this was my sole resource, because poetry is my sole resource, is my only resource, or we can say only wealth. So the poet is saying that this is my sole resource and my only plan, till that which shoots a part infects the whole, and now is almost grown the habit of soul. So here the poet is saying that he was very much infected by this study of philosophy, and that has completely dried up his poetic imagination, because philosophy and poetic imagination are as per S.T. Coleridge is very much opposite, and he is saying that these imagination are completely being dried up because of his inclination towards the study of metaphysics, and or we can say the philosophy. That is why he is saying this. So I am keeping this here. If this helps you, then please give it a like, to share with your friends, and the next stanzas, that means the stanza 7 and stanza 8, will be covered in the next video.